it here. Yeah. Okay, Baruch Hashem. So chapter 21, verse 25. והוכיח אברהם את אבימלך על אודות באר המים אשר גזלו עבדי אבימלך. ויאמר אבימלך לא ידעתי מי עשה את הדבר הזה וגם אתה לא הגלת לי וגם אנוכי לא שמעתי בלתי היום. So then Avraham, it says, Avraham disputed with Avimelech regarding the well of water that Avimelech's servants have seized. They took one of the wells that really was his. But Avimelech says, I didn't know who did this thing. Furthermore, you never told me. And moreover, I myself have never heard nothing of it except today. So you're telling me that all this time my employees have been stealing from you. Why didn't you tell me already before? Why'd you wait all this time? I didn't know about it. What do you think? I check every one of my wells to see, do I own this? Do I own this? Do I own this? He's claiming innocent. He goes, you can't come to me with complaints now. I didn't know anything about it. And as a result, Avraham and Avimelech make a deal. And Avraham gives him 7 ewes. And Avimelech says, what are you giving me these ewes for? He says, that's going to be the sign of our deal. If I say to you, listen, this is my well, a year, 2 years, 3 years is going to pass, maybe you're going to forget. Or what if you die and your son takes over and you're going to say, listen, I don't see any contract. But now that I paid you, that's the contract. Everybody knows I gave you something for this well. So you see here, we learned something critical here. We learn that the fact that Avraham, it specifically says that Avraham rebuked Avimelech. Avimelech was a king. But he rebuked him, he told him the truth. But since Avimelech was willing to listen to the truth because he was more interested in partnering with Avraham, the man of God, than he was having all this kavod, because he saw that every time he's partnering with Avraham, he's profiting, he's making money off of it. So he's willing to accept the truth. He sees the benefit of listening to Avraham. So you see that in this particular case, rebuke led to uncovering reality, which made Avimelech uncomfortable, but eventually led to peace. And even before that, the verse that I mentioned before in chapter 20, verse 10, when Avimelech came to Avraham Avinu, and he says to him, why did you put me in such a bad situation where you told me that your wife is really your sister? And look, our eyes were shut, our ears were shut, our genitals were shut. Hashem came to me in a dream, tell me that I'm going to die if I touch her. What did I do to you that you're putting me in this situation? And then Avraham Avinu tells us the secret to all of this. The secret to making sure that you're always going to be a judge and not an attorney, not a lawyer, for others and for yourself. Making sure that you're always going to look at things based on facts and not based on your heart. And make sure that you're able to move on, that after people pay their dues, you're able to move on forward. And the secret is, ויאמר אבימלך אל אברהם, מה ראית כי עשית את הדבר הזה? ויאמר אברהם, כי אמרתי רק אין יראת אלוהים במקום הזה, והרגוני על דבר אשתי. And Avimelech says to Avraham, what did you see that you did such a thing? Like, what did you put me in such a bad situation? So Avraham says, because I said, this place has no fear in God, and they will slay me because of my wife. So what does one thing have to do with the other? What do you mean? There's no fear of God in this place, and therefore they're going to kill me for my wife? What does one thing have to do with the other? So here Avraham is teaching us something. He's saying, if someone fears God, they're going to listen to him. If someone fears that Hashem is watching everything we do, listening to everything we say, writing every action that we've made, good and bad, and eventually He's going to show us this book at the day of judgment, and we're going to have to pay the bill for it, we're going to think twice before we make any action. Before we create some idol worship, before we turn into false religions, before, like the book of Isaiah says, that we got to such a bad level that they started worshiping bats. Bats and I think it was raccoons. Bats and raccoons. Like, why is he mentioning this? Why doesn't he mention this? They worship some statue. They worship some, I don't know, they worship some Buddha. They worship some rabbi. Why is he mentioning bats? He says, because you know that a bat is a really ugly animal. It's not like nobody likes bats. Only in the movies they like bats. But in reality, nobody likes bats. Nobody has a pet bat. It's a diseased animal. It's not a pretty animal. It's gross. He says that they made the ugliest thing, the ugliest creature into their God. Obviously it doesn't make any sense. How do you get to such a point? How does Am Yisrael get to such a point? How do people that are part of the chosen nation get to such a point where you've turned something so ugly into a God? When you have the most amazing God there is the only God there is. When you don't go with Da'at Torah, when you don't go with the teachings of the sages, when you don't build your emunah and your overall system, your overall mindset on a foundation full of Yirat Shamayim, a foundation that's based on fear of the Almighty, awe of the Almighty, you're not far away from the idol worshiper that made the bat into a God. You're not far away from becoming a murderer, according to Avraham Avinu. He says, listen, I came to this place, and as soon as I came to the place, instead of them asking me, you're in a desert, do you want a drink? Do you need some food? Do you like some rest? What do? They ask me, hey, who's the hottie with you? Who's this pretty woman? So I say, instead of them asking me if I need food, I'm in a desert. I'm not at a vacation resort. Middle of the desert. People are dying in the desert. They go in, they never leave. Instead of them asking, you want some water, you want some food, you want some anything, they ask me, who's this woman? Yeah, you care about the woman that's with me? Shows you have no Yirat Shamayim. All you care about is women. All you care about is desires. And people that only care about desires, they only care about this world. Which means they don't believe in the next world. Which means they don't believe in a creator to the world. Which means that they think that no one's watching. They can do whatever they want. And someone who thinks that they can do whatever they want and no one's watching, no one's writing, no one's listening, anything that they're doing, they're one step away from being a murderer. And they'll kill me for my wife. That's why I said she's my sister. Because I knew that if I said she's my wife, they'll kill me. Say, listen, if she's his wife, if she's his sister, then we can just take her. Give him some kavod, give him some money, make him feel good, he'll give us no problem. But if she's his wife, we can't take her. So what do we have to do? We have to kill him, then we can take her. Why? Because they have no Yirat Shamayim. So Avraham Avinu is teaching us here, listen, without Yirat Shamayim, the foundation of Judaism, you have nothing.